What up YouTube? This is Pills for Speed. Just wanted to give you an update of my aquarium and where it's at. Starting off right off the bat, I had actually had an outbreak of that red slime, as you can see. It was a little bit more, and I introduced that red slime stuff. What I didn't know is that it come to turn out it's going to change the viscosity in the water, and my skimmer just, I don't know, it just somehow started over bubbling and filling up the collection cup like within an hour. So had to leave that bad boy off for some days before it actually cleaned up. But this is where it's at now. I took out a little bit of rock, mainly the stuff that was back there, but you can kind of see how it looks basically getting up there on the rocks up there too. So yeah, I'm not going without my skimmer. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. So this is where we're at, and a look down here. Basically we have the Aquamax 300. I think I've done a few demos on this. Awesome skimmer, best thing money can buy. As you can see, it collects heavily, and I don't know, it's just whisper quiet, never given me any problems. It's just grade A. There, I got some carbon, but I currently have it off because I've already used it for, I guess, over 2 weeks. So have it turned off right now. But got some Chato down there. So you can see it's also working like a filter too. But this stays off in the daytime, and then sump light turns on at night. Regulate your pH by keeping one on and one off. So anyway, yeah, so here's some of the livestock doing well. Anybody that is in love with their aquarium almost can tell the character of each one of their inhabitants. And this is Sylvia right there. She's the female because she's the big one. I made sure to buy them roughly about the same size to make sure that one of them would turn into a female. And there's the male. Originally the male was nowhere near the female, and you know, just like I read on their books, that they have to pair up and build this relationship kind of thing. And eventually she starts letting him within her vicinity, and then eventually he ends up shacking up with her, and that kind of thing. I wish they would spawn, which at one point I was thinking they were, because they started burrowing and building all these little particular pathways to make their little home there nice and secure, and still no signs yet, unless all the other fish haven't already eaten them. This guy over here, he's new, some kind of goby. I haven't figured it out yet. My buddy was literally gonna throw him away. He had a 75 gallon, and this guy was literally creating desert storms in there. So I said, you know what, man, I'll take him. I had him in the sump, and he wasn't eating that good. He wasn't being happy. So I threw 2 fish down there, and he started kind of munching out more better, and I just threw him in the display tank. So I don't know yet if it was a good idea, because you can kind of see how he's made literally freaking 2-3 inch caving down there, probably collapse all my rocks. This is something that's been growing for a little while now. It started off with a little handful of shrooms, and then it eventually turned into all that. So my snowflake here, I bought them at a really good deal. Normally these can go for anywhere from 50 bucks, 100 bucks, depending on where you buy them. And I got them for 30 bucks each. I got the pair. So yeah, sucker for snowflakes. This little guy, I don't know what he is, but I've had him for some time now, and never really grown much more than 1 or 2 heads, like in like a year, but pretty hardy. And those guys back there too started off with maybe about 5, and then reached up to that point there. That green dealie up there, he was in trouble when I got him. A buddy of mine gave him to me, and he had maybe 2-3 heads, and one of the heads was just real shadowy, and doing real good now. And we got here flower pot or something like that. doing pretty good too. Like I said, that red slime, not too out of control, but it's getting there. I'm dosing it really slowly. So got this clam here. I've had him for a while now, going on over a year. He started off maybe about the size of a little walnut, and you can see where he's at now. This also started off as maybe the size of a quarter. It's getting there. Same thing with the green zoas, a little handful, and they're getting there. This leather, I have no idea what's going on. I had a little bit of a, I guess, a little dark spot back there when I removed some of the rocks. So I ended up getting a diamond goby. He went straight into digging his little caverns or whatever, and I guess, look at the way he's got my leather, just terrible. Lawnmower Blenny, had him for about a year now too. He does a pretty good job of keeping the algae down to a minimum. Blue Hippo, she's awesome. Eats great, just does everything that you'd want out of your tang. Got the yellow tang. Yellow tang's kind of new. Maybe had her about 3 months. She eats real good. Fire goby, doing real good too. Those are nice little community fish, always good to have, very inexpensive. So for a power head, I have the Jabo, I think the 60. It's got the little control pad down there on the bottom. I think I have a few videos showing you some of the modes, but it gets the job done. As you can see, there's some pretty good current on the top. You're probably wondering what that white thing is over there on my overflow, but I didn't like scraping the algae off there constantly, so that was a temporary fix, and then it ended up going to be over about 2 months going now. So yeah, just anyway, light, really good light. I have some 10,000 metal halides on there right now, and 4 actinics, and the ballast I have out back, and they turn on like through time. For example, from 9 to, let's just say, 12, and this one will turn on from like 11:40 and so on, so that it transitions, and it does really good. I also dose them with the bulk reef supply 2-part, and the calcium is really good. Since I don't have a lot of coral, I don't really have to dose but once maybe a month, maybe going on 2 months, and it's very little, 10 ppms or whatever. So do real good. And nitrates completely at 0. I think if anything, phosphates, I have high phosphate, that's why I got that red slam. I think what it was is I had a couple of live rock down there and didn't realize it, but since I had my 6-line wrasse down there to accompany my hippo and I was first quarantining him, I mean not my hippo, my that long snake goby deal guy, the rock had accumulated a lot of I guess detritus down there, so of course that's what started up the red slime. And I even had to take out a few live rocks just because it was already growing heavily over there. So I'm dosing it real lightly right now with the red slime remover, and nothing too heavy. You see the goby doing his thing, showing off.